All right, welcome back, everybody. I'm kind of getting down to the wire here in the fourth quarter, and I hope everybody's doing well. I know we've kind of had some isolated topics here. I know we did last week on a brief introduction to simplest radical form. What we're going to see today is kind of another kind of standalone topic as far as what we do with it here, just to kind of get you some essentials here as you go into the summer, and I know you'll be practicing these things quite a bit over the course of your summer vacation. We're going to do a brief introduction to some statistics. And I'm guessing that a lot of these terms you have seen in the past. So what I'd like you to do, just jot this, the heading down, this set of numbers, and then the example directions, and then these first four terms. Okay? So these are going to be the ones that I think are going to be pretty much a review for you. I think you know what they are. But we're going to touch on them briefly here at the beginning. So if you write down the numbers, 3, 6, 6, 7, 9, 11, 15, 18, 19, 21, using that set of data, we are going to calculate each of these four things to start with. And then I'm going to add just a couple more things in later on with this example. So this is a set of data. You'll encounter sets of data all throughout different experiments, different subjects. Who knows? Maybe their number of wings that I'd eaten on given days. I mean, I would never eat 3 wings, but whatever. So given the data, let's find all of these terms. First one is the mean. All right, let's refresh on some terms. The mean, another way of saying that is the average. Okay, the average. Now, the way that we calculate an average is first we add the numbers and finally divide by the number of terms. In this case, there are 10 of them. So, again, very simple. I add up all 10 of the numbers, and in this case, then I'm going to divide by 10. Now, if you trust me here, the sum of the numbers ends up being 115. You can try it, check me, let me know if I did something stupid. 115, and since there are 10 of them, I'm going to divide that number by 10. And if I divide 115 by 10, I get an average, or a mean, of 11.5. So, not too terribly difficult of a calculation, and hopefully a review of something you've done in the past. Next one, median. The median is the ordered, and that's important, it's the ordered middle number. Okay, now I did put them in order, so that makes things a little bit more convenient for us here. So what I do, now I know this visual may work for some people. I know some people like to think just cross off end by end until you work your way to the middle. I'll just kind of count. That's all I'm going to do. So that if there are 10 numbers, now with an even number of terms, hopefully you remember, because there are going to be then 5 numbers on either side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if there are an even number of numbers, I must go halfway between these two. So my median, I like to draw this line here to kind of think, all right, I have to go in the middle of those. This is a pretty simple one to think about. Halfway between the numbers 9 and 11 is going to be 10. So that means my median is equal to 10. All right, and that's it. Hopefully a pretty straightforward calculation. If there were an odd number of numbers, it would be even easier. It would just be the very middle of those numbers. That one would actually fall on the list. Next one, number 3, the mode. This one is the one that occurs the most often, I know, the way that people remember it. So there's actually only one number up here that occurs more than once. It's the number 6. Okay, that's it. Finally, number 4, the range. Now, this is different than like the function meaning of range, where it was the y values. The range is the highest minus the lowest. So think of it, the amount of spread or distance between all of the numbers. So this one, it's a very basic calculation. It's just going to be 21 minus 3. And 21 minus 3 is 18. All right, so those are hopefully the 4 basic stats terms that you've seen quite a bit in the past that hopefully are not, too unfamiliar at this point. Now we're going to add a couple in, and maybe you've seen these before, maybe not. Maybe heard them on the streets. Purifying, wherever you go, sheets maybe, I don't know. But these occur on the streets quite a bit. So number 5, find the quartiles. Okay. Now they are going to be divided into 3 quartiles. Q1, which is commonly known as the lower quartile. Q2, which is the overall median. So I'm going to write that one in already. We already found that. It's 10. And then finally Q3, which is the upper quartile, or also known as the upper quartile. Okay, now what I want you to think of before I say it, what root word do you see that makes up the word quartile? And how is this going to help us find these things? Hopefully an answer that maybe some of you came up with is that the word quarter shows up in the word quartile. Oh. Apologize. I think I'm lagging a little bit here. All right, my apologies. I think I'm back again now and ready to roll anyway. So quartiles, again, we are breaking the data into quarters. That's what we want to think of. So in order to break it into quarters, I first have to break it in half. We already did that. By finding the median, we break a set of data in half. So all I now have to do, the first quartile or lower quartile, I just have to take the median of the first half, the lower half. So if I look at these numbers here, now I just take that median. And there are 5 of them, which means it's a very easy one to find. It's going to be the third one. 1, 2, 3. 6 is going to be Q1. Okay? We already found the overall median, which is quartile 2. You can think the second quarter is half, right? And then all I have to do for the third quartile, or the upper quartiles, once again, I look at the second half, or the upper half of the numbers. Third one in, once again, is 18, and that is going to be Q3. All right. And then the final term to add in here to touch on just briefly, it's once again a pretty simple calculation. Interquartile range. Jot that one down. The interquartile range, commonly abbreviated IQR, you'll see that quite a bit on the streets. People roll up to your window and say, hey, you got that IQR? You'll say, yeah, I got that IQR. But anyway, interquartile range, it is exactly the calculation of what the overall range is. I'm just subtracting 2 different numbers. I'm just calculating the spread among the quartiles. So it's a basic calculation. It's Q3 minus Q1, and that ends up being 18 minus 6, which is 12. All right, so there we go. So an introduction to statistics, hopefully finding these calculations again. Hopefully many of them were fairly straightforward and a good refresher for you. As always, there will be a short assignment for the week, and please see me with any questions, and have a great day.